Hello everyone, my name is Shantanu Rana, and today I will be taking this session on how to crack your first job. Very good evening to all of you, and thank you for attending this session. But before we start with this session and we discuss all the tips and tricks, the strategies to crack your first job, I just want a quick confirmation in the chat box whether I'm clearly visible, my voice is audible or not, whether my screen is visible or not. So please let me know in the chat box by writing yes or no, that whether I'm clearly audible or visible or not. Okay, I see a lot of people are saying Chetan, Ria, hello, hi everyone, a very good evening to all of you. Please let me know in the chat box by saying yes or no, that whether my voice, my screen is visible, clearly audible or not. Okay, Ikrar is saying yes, perfect. Anybody else? Please confirm in the chat box whether I'm clearly audible, visible or not. Yes, hi Sandeep, Deepu. Sandeep is saying hi, hello, hi everyone. Hi Pratiksha, Ria, perfect. Mayank Mishra, yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much, guys, for confirming. So let's just directly start with this session. So before we actually start, let's try to understand when we talk about our first job. Let's say you are in your college, or maybe you have passed out from your college and you have a little bit of experience, or maybe you have done a few internships. We all understand that getting our first job is extremely difficult. It sounds more difficult than it actually is, because there are a few things that we really need to understand that a lot of students do not understand. Because of our Indian education system, we are given a lot of focus, on understanding the subjects and everything, but a lot of focus is not given on understanding how to put that knowledge into action and get a career out of it. So that is something we will try to understand over here. So when you are done with your college, maybe your graduation, post graduation, how exactly you can crack your first job. So this is something we will be discussing, and here's the agenda for today's session. So we will be starting with resume building. Definitely when we talk about getting a job, making a career, the very first thing that will come to your mind is making an effective resume or an eye-catching resume. Now, what are the main things that you should definitely include in your resume? What are the components of a resume? Why it is extremely important? What is the purpose of a resume? All of that we will be understanding. Then we'll get to know about the interview etiquette, that how should you do, what should you do before the interview, beginning of the interview, during the interview, and at the end of the interview. Then we'll understand some of the common interview questions, the typical questions such as tell me about yourself, take me through your resume, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, why should we hire you, salary negotiation questions, what are the questions that you can ask the interviewer. All these things we will be discussing. And then finally we'll have some light on must have skills. So whatever field you are getting into, be it marketing, be it sales, be it business development, or maybe you are getting into accounts, or maybe you are getting into any technical field, there are a few skills that each and everybody should know, irrespective of the field that they are they are getting into, or the area in which they are getting. Right, so there are a few must-have skills that should be there on your resume that you should definitely know. We will be discussing those skills as well, and I'll also be telling you how exactly you can start learning those skills, start exploring those skills. So let's get started. Now, one more disclaimer I have for you guys is that this session is mostly going to be about these things which are listed over here. But again, we are open to your feedback. If you want us to discuss something else, you want me to, let's say we are discussing common interview questions and I have missed a question that you feel is important, put it in the chat box and I will be taking that. If you have any doubts throughout the session, whatever I'm going to tell you, you did not understand it, you want me to repeat, you want to understand something else about it, you want to put your opinion, use the chat box to the fullest. Make sure you interact with me, and then only I will be able to tell you in the most efficient way possible. Right, so let's just get started with this session. So I see a lot of people are already very enthusiastic about it. I see a lot of people are confirming in the chat box saying hi, hello. So very good evening and hello to everyone. Now we will be starting with our first topic, which is resume building. See, first of all, let's try to understand the purpose of a resume. Right, so when we talk about any organization, you are applying for any job profile, the very first thing that you will need, and 100% you will need for any job, is a resume. So resume is extremely important. Whatever you had done in your college, maybe your college was for 3 years, for 4 years, whatever skills you had done, maybe you have worked with some cultural committee, some technical committee, maybe you have worked with a lot of NGOs, you have handled a lot of positions of responsibilities, you had done a lot of courses, trainings, internships, whatever you had done in your college or till your professional journey when you pass out from the college, whatever you have done, interviewer is not going to ask you all those things. The very first step is they will tell you to show them those skills through your resume. Now, if your resume is not effective enough, it's not eye-catching enough, they're never going to pay attention to what you have written there. They're never going to take care of that. So you have to make sure whatever you are writing on your resume, that should be relevant for the job, that should be eye-catching, so that the interviewer or the hiring manager or the recruiter, they pay attention to it and eventually you can crack your job. So resume is extremely important. The main purpose of resume is to showcase your strengths, to showcase your skills, to showcase why do you want a job, what are the skills you have in order to get into that particular profile, that vacancy. And also it will create a lot of room for the interviewer to ask you rest of the questions. So if you are called for the interview, your interview is generally about probing on your resume. Let's say you have written you know Python, so interviewer will be asking questions about Python. If you have written you know advanced Excel, the interviewer can ask you questions about that. Right? So whatever you write in your resume, it becomes extremely important and you should have a justification ready for that. So let's try to understand that what are the essentials of an effective resume. Certain things that you should definitely keep in your mind when you are building your resume. Number one is that is tailored for each job. Now, what do I mean when I say that your resume should be tailored for each job? Let's say you are applying to 10 different companies. ABC Private Limited, XYZ Private Limited, MNOP Private Limited. You are applying to these three companies. First one is for a sales role, then second one is for a marketing role, and third one is let's say for a field into marketing, which is digital marketing, SEO, SEM, something related to that. So how will you tailor made your resume for each of these profiles? Why can't you send just one resume to each of these companies, to each of these profiles? What is required in that? So the very simple thing is each of these companies are different. Their core values are different. Their mission is different. Their vision is different. And similarly, the job profiles are also very, very different. One is for a sales role. The skills required for a sales role are very, very different. The skills required for a marketing role are very, very different. The skills required in SEO, SEM will be very, very different. So according to the job roles, you have to make a resume which is relevant for that particular company and for that particular job role. How do you do that? By ensuring that you make the resume which is relevant for a particular job. If you are applying for a sales role, maybe skills like negotiation, empathy, skills like CRM softwares, customer relationship management, customer service, those kind of skills will be required. But if you are applying for let's say a technical role, maybe Python, maybe PHP, maybe HTML, those skills will be required. If you are applying for let's say an editor role, maybe you need to know Adobe, maybe you need to know other softwares, maybe you need to know the basics of design. All those things will be required. So for each and every job, key skills are different. The education required is also different at times. But whenever you apply to any company, whenever you apply to any particular organization, any particular job role, you have to make sure that your resume is tailor made for that. You cannot have one resume and send it to 10 different companies, because that will be irrelevant. For a lot of things in that resume will be irrelevant for them. So every time you apply for a job, make sure you make a little bit modification in your resume in order to make sure that there is no mismatch between the job description and the resume that you are providing. So that is one very important thing to understand. Then your resume should include numbers. What do I mean when I say your resume should include numbers? That simply means that whatever resume you are sending, if let's say you have to say you managed a team, rather than saying you managed a team, you can say you managed a team of 20 members. Now that becomes more precise and it gives a better picture of your personality to the recruiter. So wherever you can add numbers, always do that. Then include examples. When I say include examples, that does not mean you have to write examples and justification for each and everything in your resume, because we have very little space for a resume and we cannot waste that space by writing a lot of examples which are not even required. But what you should do is you should have a justification ready for each of the things that you have written in your resume. Even if you are writing that you are very organized, then why do you think so? You should have a justification ready for that in your mind. If you are writing you are good with Python, or maybe your excellent communication skills, or maybe you are writing about your effective public speaking, or maybe you are talking about your writing skills, maybe you are talking about search engine optimization, maybe Excel. Now they will definitely ask you questions related to that. So whatever you have written in your skills, in your background, in your resume overall, you should have an example ready for that. You should have a justification ready for that. So if they'll ask you to justify something that you have mentioned in your resume, it should be crystal clear in your head. That is also very, very important. You cannot lie in your resume. Rather than writing 10, 20 skills, you can simply write 5 skills which are really authentic, which are really true about your personality, about your professional journey. So that is very important. Now, never forget the 4 C's of resume. What are the 4 C's? Number 1, it should be concise. Number 2, it should be correct. Number 3, it should be clean. And number 4, it should be consistent. What do I mean when I say it should be concise? Concise means writing a lot of things which gives a better picture of your personality, but in less words. So let's say you have to say that you managed a team in the sales team of an organization. Rather than saying that I was in this and this organization where these were these many teams and I managed 20 members and we did this project, we did that project, you can simply write managed a team of 20 members and handled 3 projects in this domain and cracked the deal of these many figures. Attach numbers, keep it concise, let it be precise. You don't have to over exaggerate things. The recruiter or the hiring manager is smart enough to understand what you have actually done, and they will be asking you to justify all that as well. So you don't have to over exaggerate things. You don't have to write long essays, long stories, paragraphs. You can simply write it in 2 lines. Whatever you have to explain, keep it to 2 lines. If you are explaining any project, just write the title of the project, what you had done in that project, what was the duration of the project, and that would be enough. You don't have to write how you handled success in that project, how you handled failure in that project. That is something that you can discuss during the interview. But in your resume, the space is too valuable to lose for such things. So make sure whatever you're writing is concise. It is not eating up a lot of valuable space on your resume. Then second is it should be correct. Content wise also you cannot lie on your resume. You have to be authentic because you will be asked about the justification for those things. So number 1 is content wise it should be correct. Then grammar wise, sentence formation wise, and also a punctuation mistakes, all those things should not be there. So you have to make sure it is correct from the point of view of content, from grammar, from punctuation, and each and every aspect of it should be very, very correct. Then clean, it should look clean. For example, right now you are looking at my screen. Now imagine if I write this tailored for each job here, include numbers here randomly, where somewhere I use the bullet point, somewhere I use the arrow, something I keep in yellow, something I keep in blue, green, white, random colors are coming. Will you be able to understand what is written on the screen? I'm very sure it will be very, very difficult for you to understand if it is not clean. By clean with the do not mean that you have to write it or you have to use fancy fonts and all. By clean means it should be easy to understand, it should be easy to comprehend. If you have written a heading, make sure you follow the same format throughout. If you are using 12 font, make sure you are using it throughout. If you will use random fonts, random font style, random colors, it is trying to make it too funky, it will look very weird, and eventually the recruiter or the hiring manager may not be able to understand it. So it should be very, very easy to understand. If I look at your resume, I should get a clear picture of your professional journey. That okay, this is your career objective, this is your education qualification, these are the internships you have done, this is the work experience. It should look very, very clean. Then consistent. By consistent, again I mean the same thing, that you should keep the consistency. Whatever margin you are leaving in the left, same you should leave in the right. Whatever a font size you are using in the beginning, same you should use at the end. Similarly, whatever font style, let's say you are going with Calibri or you are going with Verdana, so make sure you use the same font throughout. Maybe you can make a few letters bold for heading or for highlighting stuff, but overall whatever you are using, it should be consistent. Now these are the 4 C's. Whatever you write should be concise, should be correct, should be clean, and should be consistent. Always remember these 4 C's when you are building your resume to make it more efficient and to make it more effective. Then last but not the least is relevant and not more than 2 pages. I think the last one is very, very clear to everyone that it should not be more than 2 pages. If your resume is more than 2 pages, there are very high chances that the hiring manager won't even look at it and they will simply reject it. Because we cannot take a lot of time of the hiring manager just to see your resume. They will be getting thousands of applications every day, so they don't have time for that. And sometimes the applications these days are actually checked through softwares, and software can simply reject if the wordings are too much and you have used a lot of long paragraphs. So make sure you stick to one page, preferably. If you cannot fit everything on one page and you have, let's say, a lot of experience, then you can go up to 2 pages, but never go beyond 2 pages. It will be too heavy for hiring manager or recruiter to even read that. And then this one, relevant. What do I mean when I say relevant? That simply means whatever you are writing in your resume should be relevant for the job. If you are applying for a software engineer role, so talk about your technical skills rather than saying that you are very good at editing images, or maybe you participated in third class in some random Hindi poetry or English poetry. So that will not be a great idea, because that is not at all relevant for the job, and that will eat up a lot of space, on that valuable space on your resume. You just have 1 to 2 pages, so make sure you put only those things which are relevant for the particular job profile. If you are a fresher, you have worked in different clubs in your college, maybe technical clubs, cultural clubs, you have, let's say, been in some debate club, you have performed in different fests, you can mention those things to show that you have taken positions of responsibilities. But if, let's say, you have done something in second class and for that you have got a random certificate and you are applying for that job and you are just mentioning that certificate again and again, that's not a good idea, because that is just taking up the space and it not adding any value to your resume, to your chances of getting selected into the particular profile. So make sure you keep these things in mind. Now moving forward, before that, if you guys have any doubts, any queries, please put it in the chat box. Okay, so Prem Sharma is asking me, sir, I am a student of diploma in chemical engineering, so can I eligible for web development? Okay, what I have understood from this is, Prem Sharma, I think you are trying to understand, can you switch your career from chemical engineering to web development? Yes, that is very much possible. You can do that, but for that you'll need to have the skills which are required by a web developer. And web development is definitely a very vast area and it has a lot of potential, lot of growth opportunities in the future. So it's a good career choice if you really want to get there. But you can start learning, maybe you can attend a few coding boot camps. If you don't have any experience, you can start with taking a few e-learning courses. For example, Great Learning Academy. If you go to Google and type Great Learning Academy, you will be able to see a lot of free courses that we provide, and you can get certificates for that as well. So start exploring, and then you will really understand whether you are interested in that field or not. And then if you think that you are really interested, then in future you can actually take a full-fledged course and you can transition, you can switch your career as well. So that's a good option that you have, but again you will have to learn the skills for that. But if your question is whether you can do it or not, yes, that is very much possible, and a lot of people actually do that. In Great Learning itself, a lot of people from different backgrounds, even BCom students, will get into data science, AI/ML, business analytics. They switch their career by taking our paid or free courses, and then that happens, but you will have to learn the skills for that. So start exploring as much as you can, and then you can take your decision. I hope that answers your question. Okay, Prem Sharma is saying I have learned HTML, CS, and Boots. That's very good, Prem. You have already started that. So definitely you can explore so many things. So we have again, I would tell you, as the link is also shared in the chat box, Career Boost. Just go to Google, type Great Learning Career Boost, and there you will be able to see a lot of companies and different packages and different job descriptions. So if you find anything relevant for web development, you can definitely apply there as well. We have a very good record, by the way. There are so many hiring partners that we have, starting from companies like Dell, Mahindra, Tech Mahindra. All these companies are there as our hiring partners, and students get packages up to 36 lakhs per annum, 28 lakhs per annum as well. So you can go to Career Boost by Great Learning and you can start applying to these companies if you think you have learned all the skills which are required to become a web developer. Okay, so Akash is asking me now which technology is on boom. Technology in general is on boom, Akash. But if you really want to ask me what are the career options that are really good in terms of growth and opportunities, data science is one good option. Full stack development is one good option, which involves your front end, back end, as well as database. Then blockchain is one area, DevOps is one area, digital marketing is also good if you are thinking something in the marketing field. Then along with that, artificial engineers, that's also one area which is booming. So these are certain areas, but again it depends upon a lot of things. When you talk about job satisfaction, when you talk about salary, when you talk about different things, there are so many things. And one area I forgot, that is product management. That is also very, very good. So there are so many career options out there. It just matters what you really want to learn, what you are passionate about, and for what you really have the skill set. Because if your passion does not translate into your skill set, it is not going to make any difference. So passion along with skill set is what will fetch you what you really want. Okay, Garima Gori is asking me, sir, for freshers who have no experience, what they should write and how to handle the situation. Garima, if you do not have any experience, it is completely okay. If it is not there in the company's eligibility criteria, if they are ready to hire the freshers, they are also going to be very considerate about it. Whatever you have done till now, let's say you are a part of any, you have attended a few courses, anything, you can mention all those things in your resume. And just be very open minded. You don't have to be very nervous that you don't have any experience. Everybody starts with zero experience. Even the person who's going to take your interview, they also have started from a phase where they did not have any experience, right? So we all start with zero experience and we gain experience through this professional journey. So don't have to worry about it. Start learning a lot of courses, the skills which are required in the corporates, and then eventually you will be gaining experience as well. So you don't have to worry. Okay, Akash is saying, okay, sir, thank you. Perfect. Perfect, guys. So we'll just move forward. Now, these are some of the components of an effective resume. Now, I'm not going to get into the details of this, that sometimes we'll cover in effective resume sessions if we really have to understand, but these are the main areas that should definitely be there on your resume. Number one is personal details. You don't have to write about what your father's occupation is, or what your mother's occupation is, what your marital status is. Nobody cares about these things if they have to give you a job. In personal details, write only four things. Number one, your full name. Number two, your phone number or contact number. Number three, your email id. Number four, your LinkedIn URL. Make sure you have an account on LinkedIn, customize it, and then put it on your LinkedIn, put it on your resume. Along with that, if you have any GitHub or Kaggle link, you can put that as well on your resume. But generally, your phone number, email ID, full name, as well as your LinkedIn URL. These are the main things which should be there in your personal details. Then profile summary should answer about your strengths, your skills, why do you want a particular job. It is also known as career objective by a lot of people, but the preferable term should be profile summary, because there is a difference between job and career. And when you are applying for a particular job, you are looking for a job, not for a career actually. So make sure you change that career objective to profile summary, and you talk about something which is specific to that job. So that is a better option. Then in education, write your 10th, 12th, and if you had done BTech, BCom, whatever graduation you had done, those marks in reverse chronological order. Reverse chronological order means first you write the latest thing and then following by the others. So if you had done, let's say, BTech, then you will be writing BTech, then your 12th, then your 10th, rather than writing 10th at first. First will be the latest one, which is BTech. If you had done post graduation, then let's say you will be writing MCom or MTech or MBA, and then followed by the other education qualifications that you have. Then key skills. Now key skills can include three things. It can be your employability skills, it can be your personality traits, and it can also be your knowledge based skills. When I say employability skills, that means relevant to the job profile. For example, Python, Excel, those things. When we say personality traits, that can be anything. Let's say you are a smart worker, your time management skills are good, or public speaking, your excellent communication skills. You can talk about those things as your personality traits in key skills. And then if we talk about knowledge based skills, let's say four languages, Spanish, German, all those things you can mention in your knowledge based skills. Then internships and work experience. If you do not have any work experience, you can just mention the internships that you have done. Then whatever projects you have done, trainings and certifications, extracurricular activities, your accomplishments, that is your achievements, and if you have any positions of responsibilities. And then you can add some additional information as well. If you have a specific interest, a hobby specific, you are into sports, you have won something which is not really relevant for the job, but still you would like to highlight that on your resume, you can add those basic things in additional information section if you have the space left. But this is again optional. If you already have covered up a lot of space on your resume, you can skip the last one, that is additional information. So these are the main components of your effective resume. Right. So moving forward, now let's talk a little bit about interview etiquette. This is very basic to understand, but what happens is when we really go for an interview, be it virtual interview or face-to-face interview, we tend to forget these things. But these things are actually very, very important when it comes to getting your first job, because you do not have any experience of getting a job. You don't have any experience of the corporate world as such. So it becomes extremely important to follow the interview etiquette that we are going to talk about here. So number one is before the interview. What should you do before the interview? Number one, timing. Don't be too late or don't be too early. Because if you will be too early, you will be wasting your time. Rather, you can spend that time in learning something. So don't be too late. Don't be late at all, and don't be too early. Then be at your best behavior. Treat everyone and everything with respect. Even if there's a person, who's coordinating between the hiring manager and the applicants, make sure you talk to them politely so that you are at your best behavior and you are very calm and not nervous. Wait patiently. Don't forget the required documents. Even if you have given the PDF of your resume, still make sure that you have the printout of it in your documents. Arrange all your documents, all your education document together, all your certificates together, so that whenever the interviewer asks you for a specific document, you can simply show it to them. Then keep mobile phone on silent mode. This is very important. Don't talk loudly on phone outside. Don't fidget with your things, because if you fidget with your things, you tend to become more and more nervous, and then there are chances you will go in front of the interviewer and you will simply freeze. Just understand that the interviewer is there to observe you. They are not going to judge you. There's a big difference between observing and judging somebody. So the interviewer, the hiring manager, is going to observe you. So you don't have to be nervous at all. Always remember that whatever you're going to say, you don't have to be right always. If you do not know something, you can simply say you don't know. What is the worst thing that could happen? You will simply have to say that you do not know, and maybe you won't get that job. You can apply to another job, and there are chances there as well, right? So it's okay. We don't have to get the first job that you're applying to. You can apply to 10 jobs, and maybe out of that you will be getting 2 jobs, because once you start giving interviews, then you actually start gaining the experience as well. Then don't keep strolling around, so that you can save your energy and put that energy while you are answering the questions of the interviewer. Then what should you do in the beginning of the interview? So very first thing is always knock. If it's a face-to-face interview, always knock, enter confidently, keep smile on your face and likable expressions, formal greeting or handshake. You can simply say hello or good morning, good evening based upon the time, and then wait for interviewer signal to sit. Don't simply go there and sit. Ask, shall I please sit? Keep your documents aside. Don't keep everything on the table. Make sure you keep it on your lap, and then you ask the interviewer, then can I please keep my documents on the table? And then you can keep it. Even your hands, keep it on your lap rather than keeping it on the table. Keep your bag aside and necessary documents on lap or table. So that is very, very important to understand. If it is a virtual interview, especially in this COVID era, a lot of interviews are actually virtual. So what can you do in the beginning of the interview? As soon as you start the video, you can simply say, am I clearly audible? For example, when I started this session today, first of all, I asked for the confirmation, whether I'm audible, whether I'm visible or not. Similarly, when you attend an interview, always ask whether you are audible. Just take a basic technical check with your interviewer, with your hiring manager, and then you start, right? Now, what should you do during the interview? Active listening. If you can listen properly, definitely you can communicate effectively as well. That's a simple funda. Listening, active listening is a part of communication. So listen actively, otherwise you will not be able to comprehend the question properly, and you will not be able to answer properly as well. So listen, nod while listening, understand, recollect your thoughts, and then answer. Then be focused, relevant, and precise. Don't overstep on interviewer's words. If the interviewer is saying something, let them finish and then you start speaking, rather than cutting them in middle and then starting something. Smile from time to time, ask for time politely if required, and politely ask to repeat a question if not understood. If you could not understood a question, especially it happens in virtual interviews, let's say there's some internet glitch and you could not hear the interviewer, what can you do? You don't have to just assume question and start answering. You can simply say that, pardon me, I could not hear you, can you please repeat the last question? Or if you have to take some time, let's say they have asked you a puzzle, they have asked you a case study where you really need to think for a while and then you can answer, rather than just starting randomly and then taking a lot of pauses doing oh. Better than that, what you can do is you can simply ask them that, can I take a few moments to recollect my thoughts? Recollect your thoughts and then start speaking. Two things are very, very important when we talk about interviews. Number one, clarity of thoughts, and number two, clarity of words. Your words will never be clear if your thoughts are not clear. And similarly, the interviewer will not be able to understand whatever you are trying to say. So to make sure that the communication between you as an interviewee and the hiring manager as an interviewer is effective, you have to make sure that your thoughts are clear, you're taking some time to recollect your thoughts, and then you are speaking clearly. So those two things, that is clarity of thoughts and clarity of words, are both equally important when you are giving answers to the interviewer's question. Now, what should you do at the end of the interview? The very first thing that a lot of people make a mistake about is, don't breathe a sigh of relief. A lot of people, what they do is, when the interviewer say that, okay, that's all I had to ask you, have a great day. What the interviewee will do is, generally the students, the freshers will do is, which is definitely not a great idea, because if you breathe a sigh of relief, that just shows the interviewer that you are lacking confidence and you are maybe not having a great experience about it, which can be a negative impression on the interviewer's mind. So make sure you do not breathe a sigh of relief. Be very, very confident. You have answered in the most possible effective way, so you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to breathe a sigh of relief. Rather, be calm, be confident, and leave, and smile and just thank them for the opportunity that they have given you. Thank the interviewer for the opportunity. You can simply say that, I'm really looking forward to your feedback, for your reply for this particular interview. Then showcase interest in the job and organization, smile and close the door while leaving. Stay professional until you walk down the road. A lot of people, what they do is, as soon as the interview is over, they will simply get up from their chair, they'll loosen the tie, which is again not a very good idea. It again shows the interviewer that you are not very confident throughout. So make sure you do not breathe a sigh of relief. You simply get up, thank them for the opportunity, and then ask them that whether you can leave. Leave simply, close the door, and then you can do whatever you want to do. So while you are sitting in the room or while you are in the virtual interview, never breathe a sigh of relief, or never start unbuttoning your shirt or something like that. So make sure you are very, very professional till the very end of the interview, till the time you leave the building, or till the time you click on the end button if it's a virtual interview. Hope that is clear to everybody. Now let's talk a little bit about body language as well. So a lot of people, what they think is that when we talk about good communication, excellent communication, it is just about what you are saying. Words are very, very important when we talk about communication, but what is more important than that is body language. As much as your words speak, your body language speaks more than that. Body language is more powerful than your words. Your body communicates just like your mouth, so don't contradict yourself. For example, if you have written in your resume that you have excellent communication skills, and as soon as you enter, you are saying that I am very, very confident, and you are not even looking at the interviewer, that means you are saying something, but your body language is saying something else. You are not really confident, but still you are saying that you are confident. And that will give the interviewer a kind of idea that maybe you have lied on your resume, or maybe you are not as confident as you have shown on your resume. So you have to make sure that whatever you are saying should match with your body language, because your body language communicates more effectively compared to your words, compared to your mouth. According to Dr. Albert Mehrabian, 7% what you say, the effectiveness of that depends upon the spoken words, 38% it depends upon your voice and your tone, and 55% it depends upon your body language. For example, right now if I'm talking to you, just imagine if I start taking this session in a way that body language is more powerful than words, or your body communicates just like your mouth and my voice is low, I'm looking here and there, I'm not focusing on the camera, then definitely this session will not be very, very interactive, right? So you have to make sure you have the right kind of body language to communicate whatever you want to say effectively. So if I won't be enthusiastic, definitely you will also not be enthusiastic. So if similarly in your interview, if you are very dull, your body language is not clear, your body language is not proper, the interviewer will get an idea that maybe you are uncomfortable, too nervous, or are not confident, or maybe are not a regular or good fit for the company, good fit for that particular job profile. So make sure you are confident, your body language is good. When you are sitting on the chair, take the entire surface of the chair, sit properly, keep your shoulders at the center, relaxed. You don't have to slouch in the forward direction or the backward direction. Just keep your shoulders in the middle, relaxed, and then speak in a very clear way. That's the whole all you have to do when you are sitting for an interview, be it virtual interview or face to face interview. Now, before we move forward to common interview questions, again, I would ask you guys to ask me any questions that you have. Please use the chat box and let me know if you guys have any questions about anything. And then we will be discussing about all these questions, how to prepare answers to these questions. So please let me know in the chat box if you guys have any questions, any queries till now. Shivam is asking me, so hello, can a fresher apply for a data science job? Shivam, if you have the right kind of experience for a data science job, you can apply if you feel so, or maybe you have a background in computer science or something like that, where you have done a specialization in data science. As a fresher, definitely you can apply for data science. There are so many entry level jobs. If you do not have any experience, it's better you first learn the skills, start doing courses and start learning different skills which are required, and then you can start with that. For example, if you want to become a data scientist, very good knowledge of statistics is required, very good knowledge of programming is required, very good knowledge of mathematics is required. How will you cope up with that? Do you have those required skills or not? Analyze that, do your research, and then you can start applying. Hope that answers your question. Yeah, Shivam, I think you have asked the same thing again, and I have already answered that. Okay, so Sandeep Deepu is asking me, sir, I have taken the data science training. How can I get the job in data science roles? Yes, so Sandeep, what you can do is, if you feel that you have already taken the training, or maybe you have already all the experience which is required to become a data scientist, you can go to our channel itself. There are so many online platforms where you can apply to different jobs. As of now, I will tell you one of the offerings by Great Learning called Career Boost. So just go to Google and type Career Boost by Great Learning. Go to that page, you will be able to see a lot of jobs in different fields, technical, data, business jobs, and you can apply to all those jobs by attending the assessments and everything is very clear on the website. So the name is Career Boost by Great Learning. So make sure you go there and start applying if you have the required skills. Hope that answers your question, Sandeep. Any other questions, guys? Please let me know in the chat box. Okay, Nitin sir, I am 2015 pass out and not working experience. Can I get job in IT industry right now? So Nitin, it's a huge career gap again, but again, that is not something that you need to worry about. Just keep your justification ready for that gap, what you had done in that gap. If you had done any training, any certifications, mention those things in your resume, and then you can start applying. So the better option for you is go to Great Learning Academy, start attending the free courses, get certificates, add those things in your resume, fill that gap by learning all these skills, and then you can, start applying to different jobs, and eventually you will be able to get the jobs. Overall, you don't have to worry about gap and all. It is a major factor for a lot of companies. It's a harsh truth and we cannot neglect that. But at the same time, no company will reject you if you have the required skills. If you know all the things which are required in a particular job role, nobody is going to reject you. There can be a few companies where the eligibility criteria won't allow you, but overall it's the skills which matter. So start learning the skills and you will be able to justify your gap. Okay, so Madhuri Sanna is asking me, so do you have any questions at the end of the... Okay, Madhuri is saying, what should I ask if the interviewer say, do you have any questions at the end of the interview? Okay, so Madhuri Sanna, it's very simple. See, your whatever question you ask the interviewer, those questions should be related to two things, either your company, either the job profile. Do not ask anything. Two things are a big no-no. Number one, never ask the interviewer about the feedback of the interview. Let's say you just completed the interview and the interviewer asks you, do you have any questions for me? And you go ahead and you say that, yeah, please provide me the feedback for this interview. That's never a good way. It can put the interviewer in a very uncomfortable situation. So make sure you do not ask for the feedback. If they are giving you feedback about something, take it constructively, but you don't have to ask for it. One more thing that you should definitely not ask for is salary, because definitely the salary part will be discussed later on. So do not focus a lot on like what will be the salary, what will be the salary, because those things will eventually come to your plate, maybe in the next round of the interview or the compensation round, the HR round. Those things will be discussed. So never ask anything about that. Never ask that what will be the working hours and all, because that can show them that maybe you are not very enthusiastic about the work and you are already finding a lot of negative things, that why do I have to work on Saturday, all those things. Don't ask that will I have to work on Saturday. Do your research on these things definitely, but you don't have to specifically ask in the interview. Now what you can ask is about company, about job role. For example, you can ask about the company, that can you tell me more about the culture of the company? Can you tell me how a day looks like for this particular job role that you are applying to? You can also ask any questions related to the job role, that what do you think are the skills that I can learn for this particular job role? You can ask these things. So keep your questions related to job or the company that you are applying to. Never ask questions related to the feedback of the interview, the salary, or the working hours or the working days. Hope that answers your question, Madhuri. Yash Anand is asking me, tell me something about yourself. Yash, we are going to discuss it just after this Q&A session. We'll be discussing it right away, so don't worry about it. I will tell you for sure. Yes, yes, yes. I think Yash is asking a lot of questions related to these things. We will be discussing it, Yash. No need to worry. Right. So let's start with these questions. I think a lot of people are asking me already. Tell me something about yourself, how to answer these questions. So, whenever you apply to any job, be it technical job, be it management job, there are a few questions which are common in all these jobs. Even if you are going for a technical round of interview, they will definitely ask you, tell me something about yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? So I have selected six questions, and seventh was what to answer. If the interviewer asks you, do you have any questions for me? That we have already covered. I'm so sorry. Yeah. So now we will be covering these six questions, and I will be telling you what should be the ingredients to these six questions when you are answering for it. So number one is, tell me something about yourself. So in this particular question, make sure you do not take more than 2.5 to 4 minutes. The maximum minutes that you should take while answering this question is 4 minutes. Talk more about your strengths, more about your skills. Never mention about your weaknesses until unless it is asked specifically. If they ask you that tell me something about yourself while highlighting your strengths and weaknesses, then you will have to highlight that. But if they are not asking you, make sure you are selling yourself by talking about your skills, by talking about your strengths. Also, design your answer in such a way that it also answers questions like why should we hire you? What are the skills that you have? Why do you find this job interesting? Keep these things in your answer. So you can always start by telling them your name. Then you can tell them about your let's say you can tell them about the location where you belong to. Then you can talk a little bit about your educational background. Then you can talk about any internships or work experience that you have. If you have done any courses, if you have done any trainings in a particular field, talk about that. You can also talk a little bit about specific interests that you have. For example, if Yash Anand, let's say Yash Anand is a mechanical engineer. So you can simply say that, hello, my name is Yash Anand. I am originally from XYZ city, and I had done my graduation from this particular college. I have scored 8.6 CGPA out of 10. In my school also, I have got this and this scholarship. In my college, I was always very, very active in this technical club and in this cultural club. And I have also, participated in this and this fest in my college. I have also been to this particular college for this particular debate fest that we organized. If you have done, worked for any NGO, you can highlight that as well. If you are a fresher, you can mention all these things. Then you can start with your skills. So I am always very very interested in this particular field, and I have these skills for this. Let's say you are interested in data science, so you can say I had done a lot of courses in data science. Even I had the opportunity to take an elective in data science in my college, and I had done that. I have also attended a lot of courses from Great Learning in the field of data science, where I have understood about Python, data analysis, mathematics, statistics. I have learned all these skills, and I would really like to apply it, and I would like to be a part of this organization, because I have read it in news that this organization is working on this and this project, and I really feel this will be very very interesting and very very full of opportunities for my growth, my career. So you can always align your goals with the goals of the organization, and you can answer this question. Hope that answers. Yeah. Yes, Anand is saying, okay, sir, thank you. Perfect. Now, let's talk about strengths and weaknesses. So, first thing, when you have to talk about your strengths, you can talk about three things: your employability skills, your personality traits, and your knowledge based skills. So, let's say you know Python, you know PHP, you know HTML, all these languages, you know Excel, maybe you know CRM softwares or anything like that, you know SEO, SEM, anything. Those can be your strengths. If you think you are a very organized person, you are very hardworking, you are very smart working, all these things can also be part of your strengths. And maybe you know a lot of languages, maybe you have been in a lot of positions of responsibilities, you have shown leadership in a lot of projects, you have published a paper. All those things can also be a part of your strengths. When talking about your weaknesses, never go too extreme. Never say that I'm a very slow learner. Rather, you can say that I take time to learn new things. So there is always a better way of saying something. Always analyze it and then speak about it. Rather than saying that you are a very introverted person, you can simply say that you take time to interact with people, and that can be your weakness. Also mention how you are trying to improve it. For example, if you ask me personally that what is my weakness, it can be that I am a perfectionist. So that's why I always indulge myself into one project, and I try to make it better and better. And that's why I sometimes take a lot of time in doing one simple project. I take more than enough time, and that's why I have the tendency to miss the deadlines as well. But I'm working on this by taking a lot of courses from Great Learning by of time management, where I'm learning how can I manage my time in a better way, and I will make sure that I don't let the perfect be the enemy of my good. So there's always a better way of saying these things. You can say that, and you can make sure whenever you talk about your weakness, you also talk about how you are trying to overcome it. Hope that answers your question. Perfect. Okay. Yash Anand is saying I am from CS branch. Then so it is very, very great for you. You can definitely apply to all these fields. You know, if you are from CS branch, you will have so many good opportunities in terms of you want to get into any of these fields which are booming these days. Great, great. Perfect. Now the next one is short-term and long-term career goals. Now, how do you answer this question is you have to align your short-term goals with your long-term goals, and you have to align that with the goals of the organization. Whatever the goals of the organization are, do your homework on that, do your research, and then align your short-term and long-term goals with that. You cannot say that in next 5 years I want to become a software engineer, and then in next 10 years I want to become a video editor. Those two things should be aligned with each other. If you are saying that you want to be a particular, if you want to get into a particular job profile in next 5 years, then whatever you want to get into your next 20 years should also be aligned with that. You can't say that in next 5 years I want to be an actor, and then in next 20 years I want to become a data scientist. These are two completely different directions. So you should have clarity in terms of how to align your short term and long term goals, and how to align it with the organization. Then why do you want to work here? Again, here you will be talking about the research that you have done about the company. Maybe recently the company launched a new product that you are very interested. Maybe it's the culture of the company. You can talk about your actual intent, why you want to join the company, and you can also highlight why you find it very very aligned with your career growth. So let's say you have a particular direction in your mind, and you can just explain to the interviewer that why do you think the company will help you in your personal growth as well as your professional growth. You can also talk about why the culture of the company is very very seems very interesting to you, and that's why maybe you want to join the company. Then why should we hire you? Again, here you will be talking about your strengths, your employability skills, your personality traits. Then what is your salary expectation? Now, whenever question is asked about your salary expectation, never give one number, always give a range. Rather than saying that I want 9 lakhs per annum, you can simply say that I would be more than happy to go with the industry standards, which are between 9 to 11 lakhs per annum. Always give a range and show them that you are open to negotiation. When the question is asked about salary expectation, that does not mean you have got the job and they just want to give you salary. That simply means you are still in the interview, they are still observing you. So make sure when you answer, you show them that you are easy to work with and you are open to negotiation. You can simply say that I'm expecting somewhere close to 11 to 13 lakhs per annum, but at the same time I am open to negotiation. If you are a fresher, do your research that what are the industry standards, and then you can say I would like to go with the industry standards, which are from 7 to 9 lakhs per annum. So that's the way to answer this question. Hope that helps. Now moving forward, here are a few must have skills. Now this is a very simple slide that I have prepared. You can take a screenshot of it and you can do these courses so that you have these skills. Whatever field you are going to get into, these are certain things which are very important in today's world. Basic programming you should know, Excel you should know, if not advanced Excel, at least till the intermediate level you should know how to filter, how to sort, and basic things about Excel. You should know the formula, the basic things you can always understand by attending a few courses. Then creative problem solving, this is very important in all the fields. Data analysis, today's world is all about data. While I'm talking to you, we are generating a lot of data. You are using your phone every day for a lot of hours. Even I am using my phone to use Instagram, to use Snapchat. We are doing nothing but generating data. Now how do you analyze that data to help businesses, to help organizations? You should definitely learn a little bit about that. Email writing, all the corporate world is based upon email writing. Written communication is used more than the verbal communication when it comes to corporates. And in written communication, email etiquette is something that you should definitely learn. Time management, collaboration, teamwork, these are certain skills that you should definitely learn. Public speaking, because that is again very important. If you can solve a problem but you cannot communicate it to the people, what's the point of that? So communication becomes again very important. So public speaking is a part of verbal communication that you should definitely learn so that you can put your point forward when the time comes. Then negotiation used to, people used to think that it's very important for sales, but it is important for all the fields. Even when you are sitting in your interview, the interviewer is asking you what is your salary expectation, they are actually checking your negotiation skills. So how do you negotiation without being too arrogant or without being too humble? That's the skill that you really need to learn. So you can take a screenshot of this slide actually and you can start learning these courses, or these skills rather. For that you can also go to Great Learning Academy. There are different courses on all these domains. You can start learning those courses. Hope that is giving you some kind of clarity, right? So what we have discussed in this particular session is, if you are going to apply to your first job, you want to crack your first job, first of all you should work on your resume building. Understand that your resume should be concise, correct, clean and consistent. It should have all the required components that we have discussed about. You should also keep in your mind that you are at your best behavior in your interview. What are you wearing? All those things you should put some kind of attention to that. If it's a virtual interview, always check everything technically, if it's all right or not. Check your background. Everything should be on point. Then we have also discussed how to answer some of the most common interview questions and what are some of the most must-have skills for your resume, irrespective of the field that you are applying to. So these are the main things that we have discussed in this particular session. Till now, we still have 5 minutes left. If you guys have any questions, any queries, please put it in the chat box and I'll be more than happy to reply. So please let me know in the chat box if this session was helpful for you. You want me to include something else, you want me to help you out with something that you haven't understood. If I have missed something, something is not clear to you, please let me know. If there are no doubts and everything is clear to you, again let me know in the chat box that there are no doubts, everything is clear. All right, so I don't think there are any more questions, but I'll again be waiting for some 2-3 minutes. And if you guys do not have any questions, then we'll wind up this session. But please let me know in the chat box if you have any questions. I'll wait for some 2-3 minutes. Okay, so Nikita is asking me about basic MS Excel knowledge. Okay, so Nikita, what you can do is you can actually go to Great Learning Academy. I'll actually show you how do you do that, and you can start learning Excel from there. You'll understand all the basics of it. Okay, I see a lot of people are saying that it's very good session, everything is clear. Thank you. Thank you everyone for being very, very attentive and listening to me for 1 hour. Thank you so much for that. Yes, Mahesh, Sisir, Garima, Ramkumar. Hello everyone. Thank you everybody. Yash Anand, very fruitful and informative. Yash Anand, thank you so much. Thank you to you too for being very, very attentive, being very, very enthusiastic, and everybody else as well. You all have been very, very wonderful while you were in the session. Now, before we wind up again, let me just take you to Great Learning Academy so that I can show you the different courses that we have. So if you go to Google and just type Great Learning Academy, this is the website mygreatlearning.com/academy. As you can see over here, mygreatlearning.com/academy. The link for that will be shared in the chat box, and you can go to that link and you will be ending up on this website. Here you can see all the courses that we have. We have 1,000+ hours of content. There are different courses that we have. So if you go here, let's say you want to do something in IT and software, you will find everything over here. If you want to learn, let's say Excel, you can find it here. If you want to learn public speaking, you can find it here. Let's say we go to interview preparation. Now, smart English basics, mathematics for job interviews, quantitative aptitude. You want to learn data science interview questions, machine learning interview questions. Those things you can find over here very easily. Sales and business development, you can understand those things as well. Sales funnel, this course is again recorded by me. You can again listen to this course. Sales management, sales and BD interview preparation, machine learning, all these things you will be able to understand. You will be able to learn these courses. Just click and you can enroll for free, and the best part is you will be getting a certificate for that as well. And that certificate you can add in your LinkedIn profile, in your resume. That will show the interviewer that you have really done something, you have really learned the skills. So if you see, you will be able to understand all these things which are mentioned over here, and this is the kind of certificate that you will be getting once you enroll for free and complete all the videos. All right, guys. So thank you so much. I don't see any more questions. Thank you everyone for attending this session. Again, I wish you